Genesis means beginnings. It opens with two grand movements. First, the origins of the world and of human brokenness. Then the origins of a family through whom God promises to bless every nation. The rhythm is simple and relentless. God gives good gifts. Humans fracture them, and God's grace stubbornly keeps the story alive. In the beginning, God speaks into the dark and the formless. Light carves a line through the night. Waters separate. Dry land rises. Seeds burst. Skies swarm. Seas teem. And the earth fills with life. Sun, moon, and stars take their posts like royal lights in a cosmic temple. Then humanity is made in God's image. Male and female are appointed as royal stewards to cultivate the world, to work it and keep it, to build culture under God's wise rule. The seventh day is rest, a crown on creation, a weekly declaration that this world is not a machine. It is a place where God dwells with his people. But another voice enters the garden, questioning God's goodness. Did God really say? The serpent offers wisdom without trust, power without surrender. The humans reach, eat, and awaken not to freedom but to shame. They hide, they blame, and they are sent east of Eden. The ground resists them, relationships bend under rivalry, and death shadows every day. The image of God remains, but like a mirror, it is cracked. Even here, grace speaks first. God promises that a descendant of the woman will crush the serpent's head, though he will be wounded in the battle. He clothes the couple, covers their shame, and bars the tree of life mercy, preventing an eternity of decay. Outside the garden, the fracture multiplies. Brother rises against brother. Cain murders Abel. Cities grow, violence is celebrated, and pride boasts of vengeance. Yet another line begins to call on the name of the Lord. Two paths form on the earth: self-exaltation and humble trust. Corruption floods the world, and God grieves. He chooses Noah, a man who finds favor, and instructs him to build an ark. Through the waters of chaos, God carries a remnant of people and creatures toward a kind of new creation. After the flood, the rainbow hangs in the clouds like a covenant banner. God will preserve the stability of the world while his rescue plan unfolds. But the flood washed the earth, not the human heart. Noah's own household falters, reminding us that the problem is inside us. Humanity gathers again, this time to build a name for itself. At Babel, a tower rises, brick on brick, ambition on ambition, reaching for the heavens to control destiny. God comes down, confuses their speech, and scatters their pride. The world is now many tongues and many lands, and the dream of unity seems lost unless God himself builds a new kind of family. He begins with one man. God calls Abram to leave his land with a promise, a home, a great family, and blessing for all the families of the earth. The cure for Babel is not a taller tower, but a humble household formed by grace. Abram believes, and God counts it as righteousness. In a solemn covenant, God passes a loan between the pieces, pledging his own life to keep his word. The future now hangs not on human perfection, but on divine faithfulness. Impatient, Abram and Sarai try to force the promise through Hagar. Pain ripples outward, but God meets Hagar in the wilderness. "You are the God who sees," she says, naming what grace feels like to the overlooked. God renames Abram to Abraham, father of many, and Sarai to Sarah. He marks the family with a sign of belonging, and against every odd, laughter fills the tent as Isaac is born to the elderly couple. When God promises, impossibility becomes a punchline. Abraham learns to intercede, pleading for a corrupt city and discovering that the judge of all the earth is both just and merciful. Then comes the hardest test. Take your son, your only son, whom you love. On the mountain, a ram is provided. The point is not sacrifice, but substitution. God himself will provide what is needed to keep the promise alive. Isaac marries Rebekah, and twins wrestle in her womb Esau. First, Jacob gripping his heel. God overturns the expected order, choosing the younger. Through schemes and stew, Jacob snatches the blessing, and the family splinters. Fleeing in fear, Jacob dreams of heaven opened and angels ascending and descending. In exile he is deceived, he toils, he grows, and on the way home he wrestles with a mysterious man through the night god in disguise, who wounds and blesses him with a new name. Israel, the one who struggles with God. Limping, he re-enters the land, smaller in strength and larger in trust. Joseph, one of Israel's sons, dreams big dreams. His brothers sell him into slavery, and he is dragged to Egypt. Integrity costs him everything and lands him in prison, but there God grows his wisdom. Joseph interprets dreams, rises to power, and prepares the nation for famine. When the brothers arrive, desperate for grain, revenge trembles in Joseph's hands, but he chooses mercy. Through tears he forgives them and says what Genesis has been proving all along. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good, to save many lives. The family relocates to Egypt, preserved by providence, sheltered for a future not yet revealed. Genesis closes with graves and promises. The serpent is not yet crushed, but the line of the promised offspring lives. God has formed a flawed family to carry blessing to the nations. We have learned who we are, royal image bearers, broken and beloved. We have learned what is wrong, rebellion that starts in the heart and spreads through our culture. And we have learned where hope comes from, a God who binds himself by covenant, who provides the sacrifice, who works through weakness, and who can bend human evil toward unexpected good. This is the beginning of everything else the Bible will tell. How God moves from one family to one nation, from one nation to all nations, until the promised descendant arrives to defeat evil and bring blessing to the world. If this story has helped you see Genesis as one coherent thread of grace, keep listening, because the next chapter starts where this one ends, and the promise is still unfolding.